Hello, this is Connor Hook, and these are my problems for turn-in number 3 of a heat mass transfer project. So first up, I've got Mario. This is a reference to Super Mario Galaxy. So basically, there's just a cylindrical shaped glass planet. It's very small, obviously not realistic, but maybe you can imagine an asteroid or something like that. And this problem exclusively deals with radiative heat transfer, just to determine the sort of uniform temperature of the planet. So to do this, you just note that the star is only going to be radiating heat equivalent to, a flat plane, not perpendicular to the entire cylinder. And then you just use this radiation equation to determine that Mario's going to be fairly cold and you might need a fire flower or something like that. All right, I guess I'm obsessed with being cold or something like that. I don't know if this is a Freudian thing, but my second problem is related to being under a blanket and basically just deriving the temperature profile and the solving the conduction boundary equation that you get. You're given the temperatures on either side. So this is basically the simplest 1D problem you can get in the Cartesian coordinate system. Basically, you're just going to start off with the extended form of this conduction equation. And then you can just integrate it twice to find that in this case the temperature profile is linear, and solve using the boundary conditions of the given temperatures. There's no convection, so there's just the given edge temperatures. And you can find that the heat transfer through the wool blanket is going to be about 28 watts per meter squared. All right, awesome. Yeah. Now, next we've got blacksmith and a bar. So this is in the world of Narnia. Exclusively because of Aslanian, which shockingly has a no radiation from it whatsoever, which is somewhat magical, but we're in Narnia. So basically you create a sword blade with it that at this stage in the crafting is very cylindrical. It's about 400 degrees Celsius, and you're plunging it into water to quench it, and you just want to know the rate that the water is evaporating. And this just deals with the phase change and the convective heat transfer. So this is just, the boiling equation. You're just going to use the film vaporization equation here. And the correction from Cole's solution was he pointed out that a lot of these properties should be for not the saturated vapor, but for the vapor that's the average of the saturated vapor and the surface. So, so I corrected that and found that you're going to be evaporating around 2 grams per second of water in the instantaneous point that you plunge this into the water, which matches what he found. All right, next step, we've got hugging an industrial pipe. So in this equation, you've been working in a chemical plant a little bit too long. Maybe there's some mercury exposure or something like that. In any case, you decide to cool off with a pipe with 5 meters per second of ammonia. The specifications are all given, and you get yelled at to get off after about 10 seconds. And the question is just how much heat energy have you lost on this hot summer day with this body surface area? And the second part of this is that you turn it into a heat exchanger. So this covers cylindrical coordinate system, of course, because you have to take into account the different surface area between the edges of the pipes, between the outside and the inside of the pipe. Internal force convection to determine the convective heat transfer on the inside. you just use a new salt number for that. And heat transfer unit operation, numerical problem solving. So that's for part B. So part B, you turn it into a heat exchanger with warm water that's going to be warming up the ammonia. And you just want to know what mass flow of water is required. And you're given H exiting. So you can calculate U with that. You find that it's turbulent. The ammonia flow is turbulent, so you can use this equation here to calculate the number of NTUs and all that stuff to eventually calculate the efficiency. You can calculate the Q max, and you know what your efficiency has to be. Your efficiency has to be about 0.833. So I just plugged it into Excel because that's the easiest way to do this. You just create some minimum functions here to ensure that you always have CBEN over the other one, for example. And you can change the mass flow. And you can find that the mass flow that's going to get you this amount of warming is about 2 grams per second. Largely because it's a liquid and the ammonia is a gas. So, and of course it's water, so it has a very high specific heat capacity. Anyways, continuing on, pulling oxygen out of thin air. So this is just my membrane and mass transfer problem. So basically you just got air going in, oxygen, obviously not pure oxygen. In this case, it's 50% O2. And yeah, the retentive stream, and you're given pressures for everything, and you just use the mass transfer equations, and you do the log mean of the pressure difference to account for the uneven mixing between the pressure here and the pressure here, and right, and then you kind of losing my train of thought here. It's been a long semester. So you just find the driving force in terms of pressure, calculate. Okay, so then you can calculate the permeability. Well, actually, excuse me. First you calculate the permeance, and then you're told how thick the membrane is. So you should suggest a possible material. And well, luckily it works out just very nicely that silicone rubber is probably the most likely material that you should use here. And then secondly, for the transient problem, we're just assuming that some leak is coming off over some sort of body of water. And you're curious what the concentration of air is at 1 centimeter under the surface after 1 minute of the leak. So for this, and you're assuming that the leak is not turbulent. It's not like disturbing the water. It's not perturbing it. It's just water. It's just air is diffusing into the water. So you just use this air function equation and calculate that the concentration under the water after a minute, 1 centimeter under the water is actually pretty close to the concentration on the surface. It diffuses pretty quickly. And that's all I've got, actually. That last problem is was removed because it was redundant. So yeah, that's all I've got. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully, I always try to make them a little bit interesting. I kind of ran out of time this one, so I couldn't, but all right, thanks.